And we say greetings, this is Kabanka Pyramid representing the Lion Voice vlog. Make sure that them check it out and stay tuned. Seeing Rastafari blessings every time.
I said. When you look at Genesis 49, which is Jacob who would become Israel, giving a prophecy to his sons, calling his sons, and he had 12 sons, one daughter, sister Dinah. Come and tell them about Judah. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until the coming of Shiloh, and unto him till the gathering of the people be. So this put Judah in your mind, and remember His Majesty come onto the world stage as the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. We don't see any other world leader stepping out with these titles. And when we trace the Davidic throne, we see only one nation stand alone in proclaiming that throne in all of its glory and triumph. So Genesis 49:10 is one of the key scripture. Also Deuteronomy 28:68, which talks about the captivity of black people being put into captivity, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, in ships, taken away in ships, all of that. So that again, we're looking at the story as I'm reading the Bible and I'm hearing the elders talk about these things. I'm putting the story together. Then I reach 2 Samuel chapter 7 that talks about the covenant to King David, where he swears unto King David. It is not lost on I that Samuel is a dreadlock priest, who grew as a Nazarite from birth. Angels came. So even this connecting with dreadlock Rastafari and the covenant coming down, the heretical. So the throne of David from that Haile Selassie would ultimately stay was established by a dreadlocks priest. So this is something that when we're reading, we're saying, wow, we never see this in Western church. They never talk about these things. But it's right there when you read the story for yourself. And this is why it's so important for the Lions to tell our own story, because then you would see that Samuel was a dreadlock priest who established, had the prophecy, and who blessed and anointed King David on the throne, again fulfilling the prophecy of Jacob to Judah. So Judah now become the leader over all of the other tribes. This is very important. Then that leads us to Psalm 68. How can we forget Ethiopia now stretch forth her hands? Crucial. This was a psalm that's attributed to King David. So after King David is anointed, he's on the throne, he gets a vision that Ethiopia will stretch forth her hand. King David dies, his son Solomon takes the throne. The very next generation, Ethiopia visits Jerusalem with the largest overland journey by any monarch of that era, with the Queen of Sheba, Queen Makeda, coming with her royal court to Jerusalem to meet King Solomon. It was written in the Bible. The account, the Kebra gives a more detailed account. And again, this is now establishing the Davidic throne in the mountains of Ethiopia. So 2 Samuel 7, one of them key. Isaiah chapter 9, probably one of the most critical because of all of those ancient prophecies. This is after King Solomon, where Israel, and again when you read the story, after Solomon, Israel is never the same. Solomon and David time is the apex of the Hebrew people in Jerusalem. After King Solomon time, there's a gradual decline that leads to the Babylon incursion. Jeremiah warns the children of Israel about the Babylonians. They don't listen, they're taken into captivity. Isaiah, same way, came, was warning. But at this time, Israel is not what it was under King Solomon. So when you're tracking the story, but Isaiah now has a prophecy, and that prophecy in Isaiah 9:6, unto us a child is born and a son is given, and government shall be upon his shoulders. You know, that is very important, because when His Majesty come now, we see that from he was a child, H.I.M, Tafari, or the Chasmach Tafari, the government was on his shoulder, because after Menelik there was no one in the realm who was uniquely equipped like young H.I.M Tafari to govern the nation, having Ras as a father who had traveled overseas, who had seen the vast infrastructure of Europe, who had brought in private tutors to train his son, and who had a thirst for learning like nothing the Ethiopian Empire had ever seen. So he was uniquely situated. The government was on his shoulder, as it says, wonderful counselor. You know, he would grow up to be one of the great mediators of the time, negotiating peace deals in Sudan. He was called in to negotiate peace in Biafra in Nigeria. He was also negotiating Algeria and Morocco. He made an appeal for peace at the League of Nations in 1936, foretold of the Second World War. All of these things, wonderful counselor. So he fits this prophecy. The mighty God is well documented that when he came to Jamaica, he was called Jah, Rastafari, the Almighty. So regardless whether you believe he's the creator or not, you cannot deny that he was given these titles as he walked the earth. This is just historical facts. Prince of Peace, again, getting Ethiopia admitted into the League of Nations in 1924, and always doing everything in his power, even before he came to the throne, to maintain peaceful empire, ridding the empire of slavery. All of these things, fighting against slave trade. Haile Selassie I, and again, it took time to eradicate slavery, which was very rampant in Ethiopia, ancient practice. It took time, but no other emperor took it more serious than Haile Selassie, and by his efforts, the society was fundamentally transformed around this institution, set the captives free. The everlasting father, again, he's hailed as the everlasting father. From that time to this time, the amount of Rastafari in the earth only increases. We have no organized proselytization. We don't go out there and knock door to door. So just through the knowledge is spreading, the tide that's sweeping, people finding out about His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I. And big up, I ran into some African American brethren on Clubhouse who, you know, came to the divinity of the King completely independent from Rastafari movement as it emerged out of Jamaica. These brethren just researching prophecy, looking at history, and coming to the conclusion of who Haile Selassie is on their own. So big them up. I'll probably try interview some of them for a Lion Talk. Fascinating things that are happening in the earth right now. Not being brought to you, but it will be brought to you on this channel. So just stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because this is an uprising. We're documenting the whole fullness.
Well, the leaders of the world have failed in their responsibility to lead the youths them to a brighter future. Well, I and I hear the conquering line of the tribe of Judah, Earth's rightful ruler. Or just the way Ras Tafari crowned, unconquerable. Me come to tell them about Babylon, they're falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Me come to tell them about the way Ras Tafari crowned, unconquerable. Me come to tell them about Babylon, they're falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Me fi tell them about whole heap of palace intrigue, infighting between Solomon seed. Well, Empress tried to want her family fi lead. Well, King Michael want him son fi lead, but King Michael now watch the orphan married to him niece, who get up every day and a study and a read. He work and he pray every day. He achieve. Them say you're the leader. Every nation need a just the way Rastafari crown. Unconquerable. Me come fi tell them about Babylon. They're falling down to far right. It's uncle you. Me come fi tell them about the Rastafari crown. Unconquerable. Me come fi tell them about Babylon. They're falling down to far right. It's uncle you. Well, Ras Michael, son was having a good time when he should mind the affairs of the state, cause he's descent from the great line of Menelik II, but he's stepping on toes of his elders, treat his women like hoes, he exposed. Now we working with the Ottoman Turks, say he's descending from Muhammad, but that's not how this works. See, the crown was anointed by the Orthodox Church, so if you are ruling as I, then you have to put Christ first.